Documentary filmmaker Barbara Kopple is here. Film critic Janet Maslin of the New York Times once said about Barbara, her work is as important as it is good. Her films about labor strikes, 1977's Harlan County, USA, and 1989's American Dream, each won her Academy Awards.
Barbara Kopple is an American producer and director. She is primarily known for her documentary work. She won an Academy Award in 1976 for her film Harlan County, USA, then again in 1991 for American Dream, both of which document a strike. Before all of her success, let's take you back to the beginning. Barbara was born on July 30th, 1946 in New York City, although she grew up on a vegetable farm in Scarsdale, New York. Later on, she then studied psychology at Northeastern University, located in Boston, Massachusetts. This is where she opted to make her first film instead of writing a term paper for a clinical psychology course. After that, she began her career in filmmaking. Let's start with her first film ever, Harlan County, USA. This was the film that started it all. This labor tension film set in 1973 documents the coal miners' strike against two companies, Eastover Mining and Duke Power Company. After the miners joined the union, the owners refused to sign the labor contract. This leads to the strike, but for Barbara, it took an interesting turn. Originally, Barbara intended to make her film about the Miners for Democracy and the attempt to unseat Tony Boyle, the president of the United Mine Workers of America. Instead, she got something far more interesting, so she switched her focus of her film. The strike lasted more than a year, and it got so violent that a man was killed. Lawrence Jones, a 22-year-old who had a wife and a baby, had an unfortunate death. But because of his death and the sight of his mother at his funeral, that was basically the turning point of this year-long strike. And because of that moment, it forced the miners in Eastover to retain a bargain.
This had just been a Harlan County strike, and there hadn't been publicity. There hadn't been a fight against their rate increase. There hadn't been a fight against their stock. Duke Power wouldn't have given a damn about any of the pressure down here, because all we had was their coal, and we never had shut off enough of that to hurt their stockpiles up until the end. And the same thing with Lawrence. They never would have cared if Lawrence Jones died in Harlan. It would have been a 2-inch paragraph from the Harlan Daily Enterprise, and Carl Horn wouldn't have given a goddamn about it. And so I don't think a strike is won by any one thing. It was won by a lot of different people in a lot of different ways fighting together and playing different roles.
Police arrested over 100 P9 members and supporters, part of a larger group who were staging a protest in front of the corporate office main gate. The demonstrators were demanding a face-to-face negotiating session between the union leadership and the Hormel company. Tom Hauser was on the scene this morning and has this report.
American Dream, the second award-winning film, documents a strike at Hormel meat packaging plant in Minnesota. The employees received an unexpected pay cut, which led the local union to begin the strike.
The demonstration was peaceful at first, but turned ugly when protesters surrounded police as they began making arrests.
We want a contract! We want a contract! We want a contract! We want a contract! We want a contract!
Other than those two films that captures the behind the scenes of what goes on during a strike, Barbara has also worked with the Dixie Chicks in a documentary called Shut Up and Sing. In this film, it examines the consequences that Natalie Maines, one of the singers, and the band makes about former President George W. Bush.
We're ashamed the President of the United States is from Texas.
This one negative comment strikes controversy over the group, which angered fans and other people around the U.S.
Well, I think for me, the three women were so amazing. They were about transformation. They were about courage. They were about sisterhood. It's sort of I really wanted to have friends exactly like the Dixie Chicks because they were there for each other for all the big moments. And the wonderful part of it is that most of the time we could just be there filming, and they just went about their lives. And they were in so much crisis or trying to write their songs or having babies or whatever they were doing that we were totally unimportant, and they just allowed us to film. So it was very good.
There are many other films that Barbara has worked on, such as Havoc, Miss Sharon Jones, Running from Crazy, Wild Man Blues, and some of her recent work, This Is Everything, and finally, A Murder in Mansfield. This is only a portion of the work that Barbara has done. I just named some of her most famous and recent films. Barbara is an extraordinary producer and director. She has won DGA Awards, Emmys, Sundance Festival prizes, and endless critic film and festival honors. Her unique ability to capture authentic human moments places her films in a category beyond what already exists.
I just feel so lucky. I feel like one of the luckiest people to be making films, to be entering into people's lives, to be able to tell stories. It's what makes me feel alive. And so I guess that if I keep doing them, I'll still be able to make the kind of films that I want to make.